WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network presents with Transformational Life Coach.
Well, hello and welcome to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show. My name's Angela Kane and I'm your host, along with my dear friend and colleague Mary Tudor. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Both Mary and I are transformational life coaches, and this show is all about how to consciously manifest your ideal life. And over the coming weeks, we'll be exploring all the ways in which we sabotage our happiness and get in our own way, and how to move past that into consciously creating what we want instead of what we don't want. And coming up today, we're going to be talking about new beginnings. And as it's the month of September, Mary and I were discussing just before the show how we've noticed that September and January are 2 months in the year that many people decide to start new things or start an exercise program or new courses for colleges and universities and various things like that. So we thought, as it's the beginning of September, we thought that would be a really good discussion topic for our chat today. So before we get into that, let's just say hello to Mary. Are you there, Mary?
Hi, Angela. Lovely to be with you again and with all those lovely listeners that are out there for us. And I'm loving new beginnings. It's very topical for me, as I know it is for you at the moment, Angela.
It is, Mary. There's lots of things, lots of things going on for both of us, isn't there? And it's very exciting, and it's also a bit, I feel I'm approaching it with a bit of trepidation because, of course, new beginnings means we don't know what's going to happen. So when we don't know what's going to happen, the brain sort of goes into a bit of fear, doesn't it? And it's because it's, oh, well, what's going on here? And this might, if I go down this path, it will take me to an unknown territory. And then, of course, the unknown means we're outside of our comfort zone. And that sets off all sorts of fear and alarm bells and wanting to retreat back to what's familiar. And so I've noticed that in my own life this week, Mary, when I've been thinking about setting goals for September and for the rest of the year, and getting some clarity around that, because I really absolutely believe that to achieve a goal, to manifest a goal, you have to absolutely know with crystal clear clarity what you're going for.
I couldn't agree more with that, Angela, and it is the groundwork that we so often neglect to put in for ourselves, that absolute clarity. We say, oh, there's a goal of perhaps someone wants to lose some weight, someone wants to actually invite a new partner in their lives, they want to learn a new language to inspire them in some way. But actually taking the time to get clarity, I think for me now, means many different things. So originally I would have thought clarity would be to do with, well, I'm very clear that actually I would like to lose X number of pounds, kilograms, whatever it is I'm wanting to lose, and I want to get to a certain dress size or something like that. And I would have thought that was sufficient. Maybe within a certain time frame, that's sufficient. But actually increasingly working with the law of attraction and the universal laws, I'm finding that I'm trying to start my clarity from a place of feeling. How is it that I want to feel when I have achieved this goal? Because more often than not, I'm only wanting to achieve a goal because it will make me feel different. I'm not maybe comfortable with the way I'm feeling at the moment, so I want to make a change. I want to make a shift. And instead of in the past, I would have looked at all the physical things that I needed to achieve or shift or what have you, acquire a certificate for a new language or whatever it is. Now I'm more inclined to say, no. If I'm actually wanting to shift my goalposts and make a change to my life, why am I doing it? And invariably I come back saying, well, because I want to feel differently. And then you say, well, how do you want to feel, Mary? What's the absolute essence of the feeling that you think it will give you? Will it be the essence of confidence, or the essence of freedom, or the essence of security, or any of those sorts of lovely, lovely feelings that inspire us to feel so good about ourselves? And for me, it's about playing now with that feeling, and can I generate that feeling even before I've lost the weight, even before I've gone to the evening class to actually start to study a new language? Can I play with the feeling? Because that's the shift in my vibration and a shift in my frequency. And that is really all any of us ever want to make a change for, is to make a shift in frequency, yeah? Does that kind of resonate with you and your shifts and changes, Angela?
Absolutely, Mary, absolutely. And that's so true, because all the things that we want in life, you know, if we feel lonely at the moment and we want a new partner, because we want to change that feeling of loneliness to feeling loved and supported and have companionship, and how that will feel when we're actually doing something as part of a couple, doing something together feels very different than doing things alone. And, you know, why do people want to upgrade or change their car? Because of how they'll feel driving down the road. I know, you know, I have in the past, and certain friends have said, oh, a friend was telling me a week or so ago that she went to like a millionaire wedding where there was all limousines and, you know, Jaguars and all sorts of, you know, really expensive luxury cars. And as she drove into the grounds of the hotel, she had what she described as an old banger.
Yeah.
And she said that she thought, oh my God, what am I doing here? And she felt like she wanted to turn around in the drive and drive away and park, you know, half a mile down the road, just so that people wouldn't see her driving what she says is an old banger, when she thought everybody else had these fabulous cars. I think we could all, you know, I could put myself instantly in when she was saying it. I could feel how she was feeling. And then I thought, but we do that. And then I said to her, but, you know, do we value ourselves or other people by the kind of car that they drive?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, would you look at a person and just because he or she is driving a £50,000 Jaguar or whatever it is, are they worth more than you?
And we know the answer is a resounding, we are all the same. Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that does not, you know, make anybody more worthy or less worthy because of the car that they drive or the house that they live in or whatever it is. But we're sort of conditioned into thinking that by society, aren't we?
Crazily and unfortunately, yes. And I think this is where part of the exploration for me is at the moment, is to say, what conditions have I absorbed? What conditions am I living from? What conditions is my behavior attached to? And seeing whether those are truths for me anymore. You know me, Angela, I've got a lot of grey hair and I've been around a few years, and it's like, well, okay, I've acquired a few of these. So it's like, right, which ones can I clear out now, please? Because my understanding and my experience in life has broadened and expanded so much, and yet I'm finding that some of the conditions that I might have been living with and through are very, very restricting and limiting.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I was at a point just yesterday where I was looking at a decision I needed to make in my life, and I was thinking, well, I could do this, maybe that, maybe the other. And after a little while, I was really fortunate to reach an understanding that I was trying to make a decision based on my past life experience, my experience I have lived through so far. And yet this decision was about my future. And the future that I'm looking at is way, way different from the past that I've come from. And I thought, hang on, Mary, this is not a sane criteria to start making decisions on. And it was a wonderful moment of realizing that I was trying to use my past history, my past experience to make a decision on what I was going to do next. So I started to have a little bit of fun with it and play with it. And I thought, okay, well, if I was my brother making this decision, what decision would he make? Because he's very different from me. And then I went, well, that's my elder brother. What about my younger brother? Because he's different again. What decision would he make if he was making this? Because his life's been very different. You know, and there were a couple of friends. I thought, well, that friend, she would make decision A because, well, she's pretty confident. And that person there, they would make decision B because they really wouldn't care what other people think about them. And it really started to open me up to say, you know, this is an opportunity, Mary, to step away from an old pattern, to come to a new beginning, and to really look at how do I make decisions in my life. So wonderful to be talking this morning about new beginnings, because I want to make a new beginning, a fresh future for myself. And as I put that as, well, this is my goal, I need to know, well, why is that my goal? What feeling am I wanting from it? What's the essence that I want? And then if that's not a familiar feeling to me, which is often why we want a feeling, because it's not familiar. As you say, someone wants a partner because they don't like the feeling of loneliness, which is too familiar. Then I need to play with that and say, okay, what basis will I use to make a decision from if this is a new experience for me? And it's certainly not to be based on my history that I have already lived through this lifetime round. So quite a little pot that I've started to unpick there, Angela. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to come out of it for me.
Yes. Well, yeah, intriguing, Mary. So you're going to have to keep us posted about that, because I'm sure all the listeners will be interested to know as well. And as you were talking and I was listening to you there, and I was thinking about, you know, similar things in my own life, and I was thinking, and all of a sudden it hit me, and I thought, well, I know we've both studied quantum physics to some extent, and I thought, but, you know, if we are looking at making a new decision or a decision going forward, then we look at our present or past circumstances, as you were saying you were doing. But if we look at what's going on right now, then there are 1,000 possibilities that we could choose, aren't there?
Yeah, infinite.
Rather than the one that we are seeing right now. And the one that we're seeing right now isn't necessarily the truth. It's just our perception of how things are right now. And it feels like the truth, and it feels real. And it is real, but it's not absolute truth, because the absolute truth is it's our perception. It's the lens that we're looking through to make that decision. It's how we're seeing it at the moment through our own life and through our own eyes. And as you quite rightly said, if you look at your brother, either of your brothers or your friend making that decision, they'd be seeing the set of circumstances through their eyes. And so, of course, it would be a different decision.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Completely. And I think that reference to quantum physics there, so important for us to remember that there are infinite possibilities out there for our futures. And I think another criteria that I would be starting to put in would be to say, Mary, is this decision that you're making, is it expansive? Is it expanding you, or is it keeping you in a limited state? Because often we make a decision, we think it resonates, as you say, as a truth. But is that resonating because it's comfortable? And actually to expand ourselves and to get into an exciting future, we actually need to go beyond that comfortable slippers mode sometimes and say, do you know what, if I want to be a confident leader in a certain area in life, I think I need to shake myself outside my little box a little bit. So could I make a decision that would gently and supportively expand my horizons and my comfort zone, so that, you know, I begin to embrace truly the goal that I want in my life, not just, well, I think that's nice and achievable, and I think that's nice and realistic, and actually that keeps me in the same largely, when truly for our goals to be life enhancing, we could potentially invite ourselves to question, is this expensive, the decision I'm making? What will it do for me? Yeah, lovely, Angela. Thank you.
That's right. And if something, if we think about something, so if we have a decision of, shall we continue in our job or shall we perhaps start a new business or something, and when you think about that thought, if you feel excited and expanded, then that, as far as I'm concerned, that's your higher self, that's your inner guidance saying, yes, that's it, that's the right thing for you. And if you feel contracted and you get that, the stomach turns upside down and you get that feeling of heaviness and butterflies when you think, oh God, no, the thought of staying in your job for another 5 or 10 years or 20 years, then that is absolutely not, but that's not meaning you're in the flow of life, that you're, that's the right thing for you necessarily. It just means that that's where you'll stay stuck because that's what you know, and that's in your comfort zone, even though it's making you desperately unhappy. And so to move forward in life, it does take some courage, doesn't it, Mary? We do have to, because anything in the unknown, anything that stretches us, anything outside our comfort zone is a bit scary, and the brain doesn't want us to feel stupid or inadequate, or perhaps a teacher told us off when we were 6 years old and that stayed in our memory for a lifetime. And then those feelings all come back of, oh no, well, what if I can't do it, and what if I fail, and all of that, and we end up staying stuck. And if we can really look at that for what it is, just our fear and perception at that moment, and think, no, I know this is not good enough for me. I know I'm, worth so much more than this. I have so much more to offer. And just not look at what's going on as you see your current set of circumstances, but to look at what is real universal truth. And that is always for more expression, more expansion, and further development and growth, because that's what we're all here to do, isn't it? To grow.
Fantastic, Angela. I couldn't have put it as well myself. That's really great, and I love the example you've used of somebody making that shift from a job security into almost the insecurity. And I think a kind of a measure that I will also put on my list of how am I making this decision is to say, am I making this decision based on it keeps me safe and secure? What do we trade for security? Some people get married because it will help them feel secure. Some people will actually stay in a job for the whole of their lives, desperately limited, but it makes them feel secure. And ultimately, for me anyway, my journey feels as though it's about finding that security within myself, within my own being, within my own essence, so that I give up the need to reach out and say, well, if I'm driving the right car, it'll make me feel secure. If I've got the right partner, it'll make me feel secure. If I'm living in the right neighborhood, it'll make me feel secure. If I'm wearing the right clothes, it'll make me feel secure. Why stay in those limitations? Where's the freedom and the free-spiritedness of living life with a deep sense of security within my own energy system that enables me to just fly free in life and be who I truly am? Goodness,
Beautiful.
Angela, don't we go down little interesting routes on our chit-chats?
We
Fabulous.
certainly do. We certainly do, Mary. And even though I don't want to, I think it's time to move into a quick break. So please don't go anywhere, because we'll carry on this really riveting discussion. I know I'm riveted by it as soon as we come back. So we'll be right back with you.
Since 2012, the I'm Loget Foundation has raised more than $150,000 for charity, providing college scholarships to deserving students and support to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Together with Taco Marine is excited to announce its Project Boat Raffle fundraiser for the I'm Logan It Foundation. Be sure to purchase your raffle tickets and come see the boat at Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. Between now and November 5th, you make a $40 donation to buy one raffle ticket or three for $100 for your chance to win the boat, which is the Great Boat Makeover featured on Ship Shape TV. The winning raffle ticket will be announced at 1 p.m. Eastern Time during the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, November 5th. Don't miss your chance to not only make a wonderful contribution to this great foundation, I'm Loget Foundation, and your possibilities of winning an awesome boat. Just go to www.rallyup.com/projectboat and purchase your ticket for your great chance to help this foundation and to win this awesome boat.
Hello and welcome back to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show. And before the break, we were discussing this morning about all sorts of things, really, weren't we, Mary? You know, we've been brought in decisions and new beginnings, and how, you know, how it's scary to actually make new decisions in our life and to perhaps go on a different route or down a different path. And because it's September, the beginning of September, I know certainly in the UK it's when all the schools and colleges and universities resume and they go back after the summer break. And so it really is a time of new beginnings. And I know, being a ballroom dancing teacher for over 30 years, I know that September's usually a very busy time. For that as well, people start to want to do a new hobby, and the nights are drawing in, the summer's practically over, and so people are thinking, oh, what am I going to do with myself in the evening? Rather than sit in the garden with a glass of wine, they want to take up a new hobby. Or so all sorts of things come up, I feel, during the month of September. And it is a really good time to set new goals and to, you know, look at what we want to do for the next quarter of the year. And but with that brings a sort of responsibility, doesn't it, of what am I going to do, and am I going to do what I want to do? Am I going to follow my heart, or am I going to stay stuck in my comfort zone because I'm afraid of moving out of that? And, you know, we've all been there, so we know what it's like. There is absolutely no judgment here. And if you're not ready to do that, that's absolutely fine. Mary and I understand that, you know, and we send you our love and best wishes. But if you are feeling ready to make some changes in your life, we hope that the conversations that we're having might help you get a bit more clarity on why you want what you want, or if you want what you want because it's safe, or perhaps you do want something different. And if you do, then maybe, you know, looking at the way we look at things will help you make a better decision.
I think for me, Angela, what's becoming very clear in our conversation this morning is that we often look for change, but we're looking for change outside of ourselves. So we want our partner to change because we don't like the way they do A and B. We want the boss to actually change because we don't like that they overlook us at work. We want our work colleagues to change because they don't include us. So we're looking always outside of ourselves. And for me, increasingly, the practice, and I say increasingly because I am completely and utterly human, and it's not a constant for me yet, but a practice for me that is so important now is to say, if I want change, where's the first place I start? And it's actually right within inside me, because it's what is within that gets reflected without. And for me, it's like, it's so much easier for me to make change within myself than it is to try to engineer a physical change in the outer world. So I think for me, looking at saying, understanding myself a lot more, what are my beliefs that are running, some consciously and some really hugely subconsciously. And they do seem to have a habit, these subconscious ones, of just appearing just at the perfect time, and you think, well, I lived all these years on the planet and I really didn't know that was running my life. But hey ho, it's come up now for me to look at it and say, shift it, change it. And there was a fabulous one that came from me this last week, where I realised that an experience I had as a child in primary school, probably about 6, 7 years old, had coloured a certain aspect of my life. And I had no idea that it had coloured it in that way. And as somebody who is actually on the other side of marriage into that separation and divorce bracket, it just actually suddenly made me burst out laughing. And I thought, you know, poor guy, he never stood a chance because of my belief systems that I didn't know about myself. And it was a huge revelation to me, because I have been in interesting spaces with what did I think about him, blaming, was it me, was it him, da-da-da-da-da. And suddenly I went into this big light bulb experience of saying, oh right, so he could only reflect back to me my belief I had about myself.
Yes.
Well, how many times I read that in a book, Angela?
Yeah.
Millions of times, but I need to actually physically live this one. And so great. And I know lots of our listeners are in transitions with relationships, and I think it is so important that we understand that we can keep moving the furniture and changing the room round as much as we like, but at the end of the day, the changes need to come from within.
Yes.
And my personal experience is that those changes don't need to be really big and really radical. It's almost the willingness to change and coming to yourself each day and saying, okay, I love you and care for you, and how might we be able to move forward here? Astonishing times. Great to share them with you too.
Yeah, absolutely, Mary. And that is so true, and such a huge, huge revelation for you to recognise that in yourself and know that that won't be so as you move forward into the next phase of your life.
Absolutely. And, you know, such an important aspect of saying, if I'm to move forward, and maybe in the future I might decide to say, yeah, I want to engage with another relationship. That new relationship now stands a chance because I have shifted my own relationship with myself.
Yeah.
I am not going into a relationship because I have an expectation of another to fill a gap that I feel within myself.
Yeah.
Read it millions of times, Angela. Just needed to live through it this past week.
Yes.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Divine timing. It's not often my timing, but I'm learning to go with it.
Amazing, absolutely amazing, Mary. And yes, I know that to be, I know that to be true in my own life. I look back, on my own past relationships and think how different they would be now. Because I am a completely different person. Because I didn't know myself, many years ago. I didn't have a clue who I was, what I wanted, how I felt really. I was very reactive and a people pleaser and all of those things. And I didn't show up in my own power as my true self in the world. And now that I'm learning to do that more and more and more each day, it's just such a gift. And I think I wish I could have known this and been this and done this 30, 40 years ago. But of course, then I wouldn't have gone through everything I've been through that has led me to this point now. And it's just incredible. But I remember one of my mentors telling me many years ago, and this has stuck with me so much, and he said the best thing anybody can do for their partner is to work on themselves. And I thought, oh my God, that just, my whole body completely resonated with that.
Fantastic,
because it's so, so true.
Wonderful.
It really is.
Yeah. And a great place to start with a new beginning, to actually say, okay, it's coming from inside me. To actually sit just in solitude with yourself in quietness and say, okay, I had a new blank sheet paper to start to actually map out my life. What would I put on it? Could I dream up something amazing? What would I want to do? Even forget the age that you are. Even forget the fact that whether you're male or you're female or anything else. Forget the fact that you're this height or that size. Forget all those things and actually take a sheet of paper and say, what could I actually dream up for myself and have fun doing it, and just open the door to say, my gosh, that's pretty expensive, I wonder if. And just having the willingness to explore, I think, just sets a different vibration and resonance going, and doors start to open and life starts to become very fun and exciting and interesting.
It does, and you know, and there you are, you're tapping into the realms of possibility there, aren't you, rather than, you know, just being completely closed off and having a closed mind and saying, well, that's, you know, other people perhaps can do that, but not me because I'm too old, or I'm too set in my ways, or whatever whatever your story is that you tell yourself on a daily basis, and knowing that every moment we have a choice.
Every moment we have a choice.
Every moment we have a choice, don't we, to make a new beginning, to change our life, to change our relationship, to change whatever. And it might not always be the way we want it to go, but it will always take us down a new exciting path that we can mould into the life that we really want to live. If we're prepared to just push through that fear.
Take some little steps, Angela, making those changes. Sometimes the word change can actually make us freeze a little bit inside ourselves and make us go, oh no, let me reach for security, sameness. But I think I loved your idea of saying this is every moment in every day is an opportunity for a new beginning, a fresh start. Because if we start to look at our days in that respect and maybe play with, well, I wonder how many changes I could make in this normal humdrum Tuesday that I've actually started, or this normal humdrum Wednesday or Thursday, and just actually say, how many changes can I make today? So that you start to play very small with it, but you start to actually bring familiarity and an aspect of fun into change if change is tricky for you. Because many of us find change tricky. I can put my hand up for that. And so to actually start to say, well, actually, I could change the way I drive to work in the morning. I could go a different route. I could actually change the time that I eat my meals. I could change the type of food I want to eat today. I want to change the mug that I always drink a coffee out of. You know, small, seemingly insignificant changes, but they are expanding our lives all the time and bringing us more fully in being comfortable with change. And I think if we can get comfortable with change, we're more likely to go in an excited way towards new goals and new beginnings. While still maybe acknowledging the past, grieving a loss, just taking the time to be with it, saying moving forward for new, fresh start is something that is the very essence and the nature of life. And it goes, as you said earlier, with the flow. And that's where we need to be with it. So just for me, I think I've picked up, you know, just play a little bit with change until it becomes something you go, oh, I like that. How can I introduce bigger change? What amazing conversations we have, Angela.
I know, and unfortunately we've reached the end of the show again, Mary. I think, you know, we could talk for 2 hours about this, couldn't we, and much longer than that. But we have reached the end of the show, unfortunately, so I do hope that if you are contemplating starting something new or making some change in your life, that this conversation this morning has helped you somewhat into perhaps looking at your life from a different perspective, which may mean that you make different choices. So thank you so much for listening today. I know both Mary and I really appreciate you spending this time with us, and we look forward to having some more really expansive conversations next week. So thanks again for listening, everyone. Thanks, Mary, and
bye for now.
Will talk to you all next week. Many blessings, and bye for now.
WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network presents with Transformational Life Coach